Everyone, we are going to jump into today's topic, which is we are going to dive into what does the science, neuroscience, everything say about this idea of manifestation? We hear it all the time and how you can will things into existence and stuff like that. So today we are jumping into, is this an actual thing? Is there actual science and studies that could substantiate this? And we're going to dive into that because as a business owner, it's going to be super important for you not to waste time on things that don't actually help you. So we're going to dive into that today.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of BizMeds. We are your hosts and neuroscience business coaches. My name is Saad.
My name is Darius. And for those of you just joining us, Saad and I help businesses scale. In fact, I've scaled an organization $30 million from 60 to 90 million in under 18 months, and not by working more hours and hiring more people, but actually using biology and our scaling playbook to do that. And we help our clients to do that too. So let's dive into today's episode. Manifestation. It's so funny because I keep seeing so much stuff on this flying around, and so I thought it would be super beneficial as we talked about this to help business owners dispel the myths around what is this thing? What are we talking about? If you haven't heard about it, what is manifestation? So I think what we'll do is we'll dive into kind of what the definition of it is.
Yeah.
Then we'll look at what does the scientific literature say about it? And then we'll kind of get into, okay, now what does that mean? Yeah. And I think by the end of that, you'll have a really clear picture of what manifestation is, and does it or does it not have any actual weight or purpose in your life?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So manifestation, if I could just say it in one word or in one sentence.
Yes, from a clinical standpoint.
From a clinical standpoint?
Yeah, let's do the clinical standpoint.
Okay. From the clinical standpoint, it is just the belief that the ability to influence your surroundings just by willing it and having the idea that if you believe in it, it's just going to happen around you.
I think that's the
social.
What's the common?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So sure. Let's dive into that one. So that's from the, I guess when we're looking at when we're doing our research, it was what is the current kind of view of what manifestation is.
Right.
And so then there's that, right? Which that's the new mainstream kind of version of it. But from let's say a scientific definition, it's really just it's a sign that something has existing or happening. Just like right now, when you're hearing my thoughts, that's or you're hearing my voice, it's a manifestation of my thoughts. So it's just a sign that something is happening, right? Or if I make a noise, that the noise is a manifestation that something is happening.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Versus what you're saying in the definition thinking. Is the what?
The magical thinking.
Let's not make too early of a
not attack people right away.
I'm wearing black shirt. Yeah. So with that, we have now been surrounded with this idea of manifestation, and where did it come from? And so it's the popularization of this new way of thinking that you can, I think it was popularized by the book called The Secret.
Okay.
Right. Which was, you can will things into existence. The law of attraction, right? Things exist on frequencies, and if you start to align your chakras and your frequencies to a certain level, that will come into your life and things like that.
Yeah, if you're internally feeling good about something, regardless of how your surroundings are, you can impact your surroundings by your internal positive energy.
Yeah, positive or negative energy or thoughts will then attract positive or negative things into your life. That's the essence of what manifestation is. And I will say this, I've actually caught myself having a conversation with a good friend of mine about this idea of manifestation. And he was like, oh man, you just seem to manifest these things into your life all the time. I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a really good, that sounds like a really
logical explanation
good way
of everything.
of explaining that I just manifest these things into my life. And then now, as we are way more into the neuroscience of things, it's like, okay, hold on a second. Like, is this one of these things that we just accept at face value and we don't scratch beyond the surface and say, okay, well, maybe we are assigning too much or giving too much credit to something that isn't actually, but like, what does the actual science literature say?
Yeah. Yeah. I struggle with the idea of that. If you just feel it and visualize it, it's going to happen. We talk about this throughout our podcast in different episodes. Is the vision, having a vision, having a purpose, and then having a plan to action on it. And then most people that, for example, your friend saying like, oh, Darius, it looks like you always are manifesting some things into your reality. But they don't see the fact that you actually have a plan, you're executing on it, you're visualizing it, you have a purpose, you have a vision, and all of those are now resulting to those actions being manifested and the results coming with that.
Yeah, and that's why I think this is such a great topic, because there's so much more to it.
Yeah.
Because when we dove into it, I mean, the actual, I think research was, I think there was a 2023, there was a peer-reviewed study on manifestation beliefs, and it was by Dixon, Hornsey, and Hartley. So I got to read this because there was a lot here. In the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, and in 3 studies with over 1,000 participants, they developed the manifestation scale, which, interesting enough, they found that over 1/3 of participants endorsed these kind of, like, they believed in manifestation. So they had these things. And what they found was that people who scored higher on this manifestation belief scale perceived themselves as more successful, had stronger aspirations for success, and they believed they were more likely to achieve future success. But what they also found was they were more likely to be drawn to risky investments, have experienced bankruptcy. They believe they could achieve unlikely levels of success more quickly. And then, so the researchers end up, as funny enough, is the researchers conclude that manifestation is more likely a form of what you said earlier was magical thinking, defined as belief in the ability to influence events at a distance with no known physical explanation. I mean, that's a really good distinction of that. So that is kind of like one of the most significant studies on it, saying that's basically what's saying. It's more magical thinking. It's the belief in being able to impact something with no physical explanation for it.
Yeah.
And I think that is, most of the things that people now get caught up in is the law of attraction, those types of things where I can literally sit on my couch, sit on a chair in the middle of the Sahara Desert and say, I am going to win the lottery.
Yeah.
Cool. And there's no, and there would be no physical explanation for that being actually able to happen.
Yeah. So I want to quickly touch on one of the things you said in there, because it's so, that paragraph there was very so packed with all the other things that actually lead to success. So the one where it says, their research showed that people who scored higher on manifestation beliefs perceived themselves as more successful, had stronger aspirations for success, and believed they were more likely to achieve future success.
Yeah.
Isn't that just confidence? They're more confident in taking action.
Saying there's a higher correlation of people that, so in those, of the people that scored higher on the manifestation scale, those were some of the common characteristics, right?
Yeah, no, I understand what that means. I'm just saying that scientifically, that just means that you're more confident and you understand that
in your ability to succeed.
Exactly, and just taking risk, knowing that if you put yourself out there and at least take the first step.
Okay, so in all of that, the funny thing is, maybe I don't want to jump the gun too much, because it's one of those things where it's cool. So you've experienced bankruptcy, right? Drawn to
Mhm.
risky investments and things like that. So there's an element of like doing things, right? So you're not just
Sitting there
it
waiting.
disconnects this idea of I'm going to sit on a couch and will things into my life, and I'm only going to think positive frequency vibrations, and that will align with the frequency of money, and that will draw into my life. And like, okay, cool. Right. How's that happen? How does what is the actual mechanism for that,
Mhm.
right? And so, like, we very clear. I think I won't say very clearly, but very highly probable that there is actually no actual mechanism for that to happen. But yet, there are, I think, from a neuroscience perspective, I think based on what we do know about the brain and neuroscience, I think there are still some mechanisms that go into effect that people
Like correlate to the wrong things, or
people misattribute
yeah.
to manifestation versus other things that are actually happening with your psychology and your biology and the neuroscience and behind the brain and
Yeah.
what's going on inside it. And so, so I think that's probably that's a perfect segue now, I think, to say, okay, cool. Like manifestation as a thing from a scientific perspective, there is no real clear evidence.
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean it isn't? Not 100%, but more probable is that it's not actually a thing. But that's not to say there aren't still mechanisms in the brain that people misinterpret as manifestation when there's actually legitimate processes happening in the brain that are causing you to succeed or helping you to succeed, or people might interpret as manifestation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the way I perceive it is that like manifestation has subtext of like hard work, effort, belief, like that's how I perceive manifestation.
That is that conversation where my friend's
Yeah.
like, oh, you're manifesting. I'm like, well, yeah, because I'm always like, I'm driven towards a thing. And
Mhm.
so my system is primed to go for that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so what are the things that are going on in the brain from a neuroscience perspective that actually funnel that through? Well, there's a couple different things. I think the first one in that you alluded to back when we first brought that conversation up was like, oh, you have a plan, you have all these things, right? Yes. So there is a goal, there is a purpose, there's a thing that is I'm driving to, but there's an element of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, we have a thing called in the brain, and most people probably most recognize this. It's that the video going around with the red car theory. And it's cool. You want to call it that, but it's a fancy marketing gimmick or, attention grabbing thing for the RAS, your Reticular Activating System, which basically is like a spotlight that when you the whole idea is, oh, I'm going to go buy a car and I like this car. And now you see that car everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's your spotlight in the brain is now like filtering out. It's not spotlighting. It's actually filtering out things, and which leaves that, which is the red car. If you were primed to buy a red car, same thing happens with your goals and things like that. Now you filter out things that aren't related to the goal. And now you see opportunities related to your goal.
Exactly.
And then you act on those. And the more you act on them, the higher likelihood of success and achievement and movement towards your goal. Natural thing, right? So then I'm looking at like, well, that's manifestation because I'm causing things to happen by my actions.
Mm-hmm.
I am not sitting on a couch. I'm not in the Sahara sitting on a couch saying, I am going to win the lottery and never go buy a ticket.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And again, I knew a guy a long time ago that worked at a grocery store, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but he had aspirations of wanting like luxury in his life, but never worked towards it.
Yeah.
Never did anything. Just sitting there kind of hoping that it comes to him just because he believes that it will come to him.
Yeah.
With no action, no vision, nothing substantial backing that belief.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, it's like, you want to put this hokey, frou-frou label of manifestation on something. Go ahead, fill your boots. Like, it's free world. Do what you want. But like, don't misunderstand about what because this is where the context actually matters.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, like, so there's real things that are happening in the brain. So if you're programming and priming your brain to look for things, like, it's going to look for them, right? It's typically, if you're a negative mindset person or a closed mindset person, and you always see the downside in things, like, you'll always believe that narrative because that's what your brain is primed to do. Mm-hmm. So in the same way that if you are priming yourself for success and things like that, and you're looking for opportunities, like, you will generally see more opportunities for it. And the kicker is, like, you actually have to do something. You have to do something, because, like, things don't just happen to you.
Yeah.
Right.
So going back to the point where you said, like, if the red car theory, but if you switch it for opportunities, your brain is primed to look for those opportunities. I want to read a quick excerpt regarding, like, the studies backing that.
Mm-hmm.
There's, like, hundreds of studies have been published on attention systems, which function like a spotlight, focusing consciousness on particular items and highlighting things we're actively searching for. So this relates to the Reticular Activating System. There's, like you said,
Yep.
ROS, which is constantly looking around for possible threats.
Yeah. Like, that is one of the prime movers in the brain. And then the other part of that is kind of like the prequel to all of that is this, like, you have to look at it also from a beliefs and mindset perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a thing called the belief aperture, which directly impacts your ability to see possibilities. So which directly impacts your RAS, so your reticular activating system, where, like, so what you believe is possible also affects, what you think is possible and what you will start to pay attention to. And so this, if you have to think of this like a flywheel, or it's a continual feedback loop, right? So on one side, you either have limiting or growth beliefs, right? So you either think small or you think large. And when you think small, then if you think small, then there's not a lot of opportunities and possibility for you. And so with that, I mean, there's not going to be there's not going to be a lot of energy to want to move and grow and things like that. But if you think big, then you start to, what's possible? So you have this expanded belief set. And then what you do is you start to take action, right? So as you start to be aware of the things that are available, you take action, which is like the kind of the big linchpin in all of it. It's the missing point in the whole part.
Yeah.
Is you actually have to do something, and then you experience the results of that.
Yeah.
Right. And so you take actions. Your actions are a result of your expanded belief or what you see as possible. And then what happens? You experience results. And that's where that possibility starts to become reality. And then what that does is that feedback loop then reinforces that belief mindset that more things are possible. And as a result, you start to believe more things are possible. You start to see more things. You start to take more action. And it's a fulfilling, like, it starts to cycle on itself. You get that feedback loop, right? Mm-hmm. Which is kind of like, the more you move towards your goal, right? It's that whole thing. As you become more successful, the more and more opportunities are brought to you. Mm-hmm. But when you are just starting off, like just making that first sale seems like this monumental, it's there, right? And until you make that first sale, then you're like, oh my God, I made that first sale. And suddenly the whole world opens up. Like, I could do this. That's exactly what's happening. And then as you become more successful, like, you actually have to say no to a lot more things because there's so many opportunities that can distract you.
Yeah. So, man, this opens so many different things up in my brain when we're talking about these, is because, like, there's another layer in there now that if you have done something once, you can do it again. Yeah. If you've done something, you failed and you came out of it, you can
come out of it again.
Yeah, you can come out of it again.
Yeah.
So your brain is just kind of like building this resilience and this grit. It's building this grit that
foreshadowing.
Exactly. It's building this grit that, whatever action it is, even if you've never done it before, if you're going for like a belief, like if you want to get to $1 million, right? Like you have a plan and you start actioning on it, and even if you don't know how successful you will be, your brain knows that if you just take the step and you try to do it, you'll get there. So I know we don't ever really use gym examples, but once you work out and you start getting into shape, getting back into shape is a lot easier than never trying again. If that makes sense. It's like,
I think what you're saying is getting, like, it's easier to get back into shape versus not.
see, that's where I got stuck to. It's like, it's easier to, if you work out for 6 months and you get into shape and then you let go for an entire year.
Yeah. Like, to get back to that is easier than when you first started.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's where I knew we were getting there. We just had to talk it through a little bit. I get it. Yeah. So again, it's that whole idea, right? Because and then because that's the other side of it, right? We were talking about that earlier. Because it's not you just have to enter in on your belief side, but it's the result side. So maybe you don't have the belief, but then you start to do something, you start to gain the results, and what that does is like, oh, that now opens the possibility of more is possible. More is possible now. Yeah. Oh, shoot. Like, maybe you don't necessarily have the belief that something is going to happen, but like, you just start doing something, right? Let's say getting in shape, right? And you just start walking, and suddenly, like, over 2 weeks, you're down a pound. Oh, wow. Oh,
what just happened?
What now? What if now? And then you believe more is possible. You start to do a new action, and then that starts to, again, go. So you can enter from both sides of it. But in all of these things, so we're talking about manifestation, like, there is a do portion that is missing from all of the things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when you have a plan, you have purpose and passion and a plan and all these things that you're moving towards, right? Like, you are just arming your brain with more and more things to be able to not focus on, that don't align with those things, and you can then do more of the things that you will see more of the things that are open to you, what you're already aligned to. Okay. And then you do those things. But even if you just sit there on the couch and say, oh, I'm going to make $1 million, and you never do anything, like, you're not going to make the $1 million.
Yep.
There's no scientific proof of that. Like, it is literal. You cannot say I'm going to win the lottery and never go buy a ticket. Mm-hmm. There is always an element of do that has to be reckoned with. Because if that were the case, man, we would have bazillionaires all over the world.
Exactly.
Right?
Just sitting there.
Just sitting there on their couches, willing billions of dollars into their pockets. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure that's not.
Last time I checked, it's not happening.
It's not happened. And I defy anyone to like tell me where it has. Like, there always is an element of do. Mm-hmm. There has to be an associated action. So hopefully, like, we've dispelled this idea of manifestation and give you the better definition for, like, from a scientific standpoint, when they, when a doctor or scientist talking about manifestation, it's really just it's the proof that something's happening.
Yeah.
Right. Versus the new age version of manifestation that's been unfairly been linked to neuroscience and science and all this stuff. And it's like, it's the law of attraction. There is no, like, for this, there is no law of, if you think about positive things, you're only going to get positive. You're going to
get all the,
right? Yeah. Because ask any successful entrepreneur, ask anyone who scaled a business how positive it was. Mm-hmm. And then, oh, did you only experience really positive things? Oh, you mean when I was pulling out my hair, losing my mind, having to fire people, going through all of the things that comes with scaling $30 million? No, it wasn't fun.
Stressful, yeah.
And there was a lot of stress at times, right? There was like dealing with problems and implementing new things, but there was and losing people because they got frustrated because they couldn't keep up. Like, it's none of that is positive. Like, it's in the end result's positive, but like nothing along the way feels
leading
positive.
on the way. Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of positives and negatives along the way, and so it's like it really falls down pretty fast if you give it some critical thought. And that's what we're trying to do for business owners, is help give it a little bit of critical thought around this stuff, because it's, if you get caught up in this airy fairy stuff and you start like, oh, well, because unfortunately we're humans and our brains are designed to also keep us safe.
Yeah. And
so we want to take the easy road sometimes, like, oh, if I only have to do this one thing, then I could be more successful. Mm-hmm. You all, like, there's always a price to pay. So either you do the do, right, and pay with the uncomfortableness of that, or you paid ignorance and time.
So bottom line is stop being lazy, go after the things you're actually trying to, or you're dreaming about, and action on them.
Do the fucking work.
Yeah.
If you want to manifest the life you've always wanted, you have to do the fucking work.
Yeah.
And if you want to dramatically reduce the time frame it takes to do that, then you need the 1 month day.
Mm-hmm.
So when you want help implementing that, you know how to find us.
Exactly.
All right.
Stop buying the mumbo jumbo online influencers selling you on their manifestation courses.
Oh, thank God you said that, because I literally had one like in my brain, and I was like,
yeah, telling you to, start your day with this manifestation
Neuroscience of
routine.
manifestation. Yeah. And I'm like, can you shut the fuck up?
Yeah.
Because what you're doing is you're preying on people's desire for an easy button.
Exactly.
There is no fucking easy button.
Yeah.
Right? But there are actual ways to leverage your biology to do things, but you're not going to put off the pain.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So
It's
anyway,
part of the growth.
that is part of the growth. That develops resilience and grit.
Exactly.
So anyway, all right, that's a good place to stop.
Yeah.
Everyone, thank you for joining us. We're BizMeds. My name is Darius.
My name's Saad.
And we're here for you with your minimum effective dose to scale your business and helping you avoid mumbo jumbo like this, so you can actually grow your business. And if you like to reclaim 2 days of your life every week so you can actually grow your business, well, sign up for the free masterclass below. In 57 minutes, we'll show you how to do exactly that using neuroscience and stop doing stupid work. If you've been with us since the beginning, my mom, Saad's mom, we love you. Thank you so much. Everyone along the way, thank you. If you just joined us, we appreciate it. Don't be a hoe. Share the show. If you learned anything at all, just share it with somebody. That's all we ask. We don't get sponsored. We're just here, plugging away to help you guys as business owners. So with that being said, remember, you are just one day away from the life you've always dreamed about. We're going to see you in the next episode.